I found my mother-in-law in my guest bedroom with a tape measure. She wasn't visiting. She was measuring. A contractor stood beside her, marking X's on the walls of my beach house in Cannon Beach, the house my grandmother left me. "Charlotte, dear," Patricia said without even looking up, "we'll need to knock out this wall. When we move in next month, we'll need space for our king bed. And Frank's exercise equipment. Move in." I stood frozen. This wasn't just property. This was the house where my grandmother taught me to paint, where she taught me to make clam chowder, where she made me promise, "Keep it in the family, but keep it yours." The contractor tapped the wall. "Ma'am, I'll need the homeowner's signature for permits." Patricia waved him off. "I'm handling that. Charlotte's busy with her little art projects." Little art projects. The illustrations that help pay my mortgage. "My art studio?" I asked slowly. "Oh yes, that will be Frank's office. And the kitchen needs a full gut. Granite. Breakfast bar. Modern floors. That hardwood is ancient. The hardwood my grandfather installed in 1968. Who told you that you could move in?" I asked. She blinked. "Ethan did. Months ago. You barely use this place. We actually will. It is my home." I stepped onto the deck overlooking the Pacific and called my husband. "Did you tell your parents they could have my beach house?" Silence. "It's not like that," Ethan said finally. "They need somewhere to retire. I thought you'd understand. Understand that you gave away my inheritance without asking me? They just live there. You'd still own it. Your mother hired a contractor. She's knocking down walls. She's just excited. It's not her house to be excited about." He sighed. "They're my parents, Charlotte. They need this. Family. That word again. The word they use when they want something." When I walked back inside, Patricia was planning a full kitchen demolition. "Ron," I said calmly to the contractor, "there won't be any renovations." Patricia's head snapped toward me. I pulled the property deed from my purse. "I am the sole owner," I said, handing it to him. "Charlotte Marie Foster. There will be no work done without my authorization." Ron looked uncomfortable. "Without your signature, I can't proceed." Patricia's mask dropped. "How dare you embarrass me? How dare you try to take my house? It's a family property. It's inherited property. Left to me. Not marital. Not community. Mine." She flushed red. "So we're just supposed to lose our home? End up in some depressing apartment because you're hoarding a beach house? You're choosing early retirement without a plan. That's not my emergency." Her eyes burned. "You are the most selfish girl." "No. I just don't give away what's mine." She stormed out. I sat on my grandmother's couch and called my attorney. Because if they thought this was about feelings, they were about to learn it was about ownership. That night, I discovered something worse than entitlement. Ethan hadn't just suggested they stay. He had promised them the house. Without ever telling me. If your spouse gave away your inheritance without asking, what would you do? When I got home, Ethan was pacing. "My mom called crying," he said immediately. "She said you threatened her." I told her the truth. He ran his hands through his hair. 6 months ago, when Dad talked about retiring, Mom was stressed. I said they could probably use the beach house. "That you wouldn't mind." "You what?" "I thought you'd be okay with it." Without asking me. "You volunteered my inheritance. It's just sitting there. It's mine." He looked frustrated. "They need stability. And I need respect." Then he said something I'll never forget. "You don't have family besides us." The air left my lungs. "My grandmother was my family," I said quietly. "That house is the last piece of her I have." He didn't answer. 3 weeks of war followed. Patricia sent furious emails accusing me of destroying the family. Frank called nightly about betrayal. His sister told me to compromise. "They're older, Charlotte." "They're irresponsible," I replied. Ethan slept in the guest room. Then something shifted. One night he came home pale. "They're in serious debt," he said, spreading documents across the table. "Credit cards. Loans. A line of credit on their house. They weren't retiring early. They're broke." My stomach dropped. "It gets worse," he said. They spoke to a lender about a reverse mortgage on your beach house. What? They told the lender they were co-owners. That you'd agreed. I felt sick. They didn't just want to live there. They wanted to leverage it. For more debt. It was never about needing a place to retire. It was about turning my inheritance into collateral. And suddenly, this wasn't just a family disagreement. It was financial fraud. Would you forgive in-laws who tried to use your property to secure a loan? The next morning I made 3 decisions. First, my attorney sent a formal notice stating Patricia and Frank had zero claim to the property, and any entry without permission would be trespassing. Second, I changed every lock. Third, I upgraded the security system with cameras. Ethan didn't argue. He looked ashamed. They would have destroyed it, he admitted, and dragged you into debt. Yes, I said. They would have. Patricia never apologized. Not directly. Instead, she told extended family that I chose property over people. But here's the truth. They chose access to my asset over respecting me. 6 months later, they downsized to a small condo. No beach views. No granite counters. No reverse mortgage. Ethan and I started counseling. Because betrayal doesn't vanish just because it's exposed. Trust has to be rebuilt. And rebuilt slowly. But here's the part no one expected. They eventually asked to visit the beach house. The house they once tried to claim. Would you let them back inside? Last month Patricia called. Her tone was different. Careful. Could we visit for a weekend? I paused. Yes. But I added something important. Visitors don't get keys. Silence. Then a tight. Of course. When they arrived, Patricia looked around like she was stepping into a museum. The hardwood floors remained. My art studio untouched. My grandmother's couch still in the living room. And on the wall, framed clearly, the property deed. Charlotte Marie Foster. They saw it. They didn't comment. But they saw it. That weekend was polite. Distant. Controlled. Because I learned something powerful. When someone tries to take what's yours, you don't shrink. You don't apologize. You don't compromise your inheritance. You show them the deed. You change the locks. And you make sure everyone knows whose name is on the property tax bill. Mine is. And it always will be. Was I selfish? Or was I simply protecting what was mine? If you were in my position, would you have handled it differently?